thank you for joining. Just a quick introduction. Before we begin, thank you for coming to our Filmmaker Microgrant workshop. We're going to do a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that we, as a collective, live and do our work on the unceded lands of the coastal Salish peoples and the shared waters of all tribes and bands, named and unnamed, including Duwamish, Muckleshoot, Snohomish, Stillaguamish, Suquamish, and Tulalip nations. As we live in a world that is covered with occupied lands, we invite you to research the ancestral histories and indigenous presence of the land you occupy here in the US or worldwide at Native Land Digital, which is native-land.ca. I am Berette Macaulay. I'm the founder and lead organizer for Black Cinema Collective and the creator of this grant. And I am a Black woman with long braids. I'm currently wearing some African beaded earrings with cowrie shells in the center. They are white with multicolored beads in them. I am wearing a necklace with a heart locket on it and a plum-colored hat with a circular rim going right around and a plum sweater. So a little bit about Black Cinema Collective. We're a group of multicultural and immigrant artists and organizers, and we examine and celebrate works of African and Afro-diasporic filmmakers, whether they are in Africa, wherever in the Americas, in the Caribbean, in Europe, South Asia, and beyond. Our work hub is based in Seattle, but our lens is a global one, and we intersect social, cultural, and political histories and topical stories by supporting films and from local and global artists, activists, documentarians, and organizers. Since 2019, we've partnered with a ton of organizations in supporting artists in Seattle and beyond to offer screenings and artist talks that examine stories of belonging and immigration, sites of place and homemaking, multilinguistic and multicultural Black identity, and radical cinematic imaginaries within contemporary art, music, performance, and poetry practices. In this work, we act as custodians, but we also think of ourselves as students in holding the broader spectrum of Afro-diasporic cultures. So about this grant, we actually launched this last year. The first time we did a call was for a regional call for first-time filmmakers. And this year, it's the 2024 Filmmaker Microgrant continues our determined efforts to support Black and Brown artists by broadening this opportunity as a national call for filmmakers who need to finish up their projects and get their work up on the screens. So now I want to introduce you to my fellow team members who will take you through the remainder of this workshop and any housekeeping notes that you need to be aware of as we continue. So introducing you to Savita Krishnamoorthy, one of our founding members and co-organizer who works in research and development and also in curating programs and helped to develop this grant with me last year. Mateo B. Ochoa, also known as Chile Dulce, who is one of the founding members, the very beginning with me, and also co-organizer, and also does our media and web design for all of our programs and for our website. Also not with us right now is M. Chan, who is a member liaison who is handling our social media communication and offering administrative assistance for the grant and for our programs. Our advisory circle is Susan Harewood, who it's at her behest that we started this organization, and Lauren Esperlino. So without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Savita and Mateo Chile. And they're going to take you through the rest of the workshop so you know how to apply. Good luck with all your applications, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, my name is Chile. If Savita, do you mind switching the slide for me? Thank you. Beautiful. So we're just going to do a little overview of what we're going to talk about today. So again, the workshop is being recorded. So if you need to go back This is also captioned as well, so that information will be available to you upon the recording. And then, of course, everything we talk about today is already available on our website at blackcinemacollective.org. So today we're going to go over just the application outline, what to expect. We're going to go over the project criteria, what is eligible, what the awardees will receive if they're selected. We'll also kind of a little introduction of the jurors, and then we're going to open up to some FAQs and Q&A. So we'll kind of go over some questions that we are usually asked, and then questions that have yet to be asked that we're happy to answer. So next slide. Okay, the timeline. I know it's a lot, but the submission period is 5 weeks. So application's already open, but if you're curious, we opened on the 29th of April. So there's technically two deadlines, but the very, very last date in which you can submit your application is Sunday, June 2nd. However, if you want to submit without any fees for free, you would need to submit it by Monday, May 27th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. You still have the next week, so from Tuesday, May 28th through to Sunday, June 2nd, you can still submit it, but with a $15 submission fee. So there will be no extensions. This is a good way to make it available for folks, just in case. Next slide. Once the application closes, pretty much the adjudication period starts pretty immediately, and they're going to have about 4 weeks to review everyone's application. So that will be from Wednesday, June 5th through Monday, July 8th. And if your content received or awarded an award, you will receive your letters and contracts, which will be issued Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. And there will be a formal public announcement on Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. So once September comes around, it's going to be a lot happening. Next slide. So we're going to go over navigating submittable. And this is just housekeeping with, if you haven't navigated submittable before, it's a submission portal. So once you click on the link, we'll preview it here, but if you click on the link to apply via our website, if you haven't already, you will need to create a submittable account. You can sign in with Google, Facebook, or any existing credentials, typically your email. You can save the draft, your work, as you go along. So no pressure for you to finish it all at once. I know there are some portals that do that, but not with submittable. So you can, answer a question, come back to it. If you do need to make changes to your form, we actually would encourage you to withdraw your submission and resubmit. It just kind of streamlines everything more on the back end. And if anything changes with the information you submitted, please request an edit to the submission. And so, yeah, just reach out to us. Our platform, Submittable, actually works best on Google, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, and Safari. So if you use other platforms, might not be the best, but we highly recommend these for you to have a positive experience. Next slide.
Okay, thank you, Matteo. I will take over for a little bit from here. So when you log into Submittable, this is what you will, this is our landing page. So this is what you will see. And I just want to acknowledge that our fiscal sponsor, Northwest Film Forum, has been really generous in allowing us to host it on their Submittable account. And so that is why you see Submittable on, Northwest Film Forum on the top. And I'll just walk you through the first page itself. Of course, you will see our logo, and then you see a little write-up on what Black Cinema Collective is, who we are, and the communities that we serve. And all of the information is available here on our website. And some of the key dates, which Matteo has already gone over, but that is, again, what you will see on the landing page here, what the awards are. And don't worry about all of this text over here, because we will be going over this in detail in the rest of the workshop. The guidelines and the overview of criteria for applicants to be eligible. Again, I will be going through this in the next couple slides. And what are all of the application items that you will need to gather together to submit your application. And the submittable criteria, Matteo just spoke about that. So that is again, there's more details here, but we just covered that. And when you finish and come to the end of this page, you will see where you can create your account. And that's where, if you don't have a submittable account, you create it. And if you already have an account, then you just sign in with your existing submittable credentials, and it will allow you to carry on. I'm going to go to the next slide. So once you, when you click to enter submittable, then when you come to our site, you will see the eligibility form. So this is the first thing that you will need to review carefully and check before you can actually start your application. And I'm going to go over this in detail, but this is the first thing that you will see, the 2024 BCC Filmmaker Microgrant eligibility criteria, and there's an acknowledgement. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a small video of exactly going through every item on this eligibility form. And I just apologize for it. There's a couple seconds of lag from, when I recorded this video, but everything else is there. So I'm going to just play it for you. Need to click whether you reside in the US and can legally receive funds in the US. And you check this only if you can provide us with a W-9 form with your Social Security or your EIN number that allows you to receive grant funds. You are a filmmaker, a lead collaborator, or you're working in a team project, but you are leading that project. And if you have screened your film before, if you are 18 years and above, and what your residency status in the US is, whether you are a citizen living in the US, you are a permanent resident or a green card holder, you have a work permit or an H-1 visa living here in the US, you are here on an O-1 visa, you have a visitor visa, you are an international student here, or you do not live in the US. If you are clicking the other eligible work visa or permit, then we request you to please stop and send us a message with the details of your work permit or your visa, along with the number of days that you have been living here in the US, because you do require a minimum of 180 days, and we want to make sure that you are indeed eligible for the grant. And then you have the education and work affiliation, and whether you are in a student in a degree or a certificate program, whether you are not an individual, but you are applying on behalf of a company or an organization, or you work currently or have family members or partners that work with BCC, Northwest Film Forum, MOBI, or New York African Film Festival. So again, who is ineligible to apply would be the staff, board members, family members of BCC, Northwest Film Forum, MOBI, and New York African Film Festival, students who are currently in a degree or certificate program, organizations or nonprofits, LLCs, etc., anyone living outside of the US, and anyone who's living in the US but is not legally able to receive funds or payments. Because again, to reiterate, we will require you to submit your W-9 form along with either your Social Security number or your EIN number. And finally, a note on the fiscal sponsorship. You are most welcome to apply using your fiscal sponsor. It's not required, but you are welcome to include your fiscal sponsor on your application. And just to let everyone know that BCC is fiscally sponsored by Northwest Film Forum, and therefore projects that are fiscally sponsored through them cannot be used with using Northwest Film Forum as your fiscal sponsor, because it is a conflict of interest. So that is not, you won't be eligible if you do that. And finally, if any questions have not been answered here, or on our FAQ page on our website on the Microgrant page. Please feel free to email M or Savita at bcc.circle@gmail.com, and we will get back to you within 48 hours, Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. PST. And once you have finished all of this, all the sections in this page, then you will click the next button, which will take you to our main application form. And that is where you will begin to start filling in all of your details that you will need to. I'm going to hand it over to Matteo to talk about the work samples that you will need to include in your application.
Yeah. So we do require one work sample, and the second one is optional, and we'll get into those details right now. So the one that is required is a work sample of your current project. I know typically folks feel fairly comfortable submit film reels, but for your required sample, that is not eligible. So we want a video submission of your current project for up to 5 minutes, and it cannot be bigger than 800 megabytes. So these are the formats that can be received, which is AVI, MV4V, MOV, and MP4. Whereas for the sample that is optional, you could submit a film reel if you would like to. And you can submit up to 3 film stills and images if you don't want to do a video. You can also submit a clip to a related project. Could also be a vision board if you're interested. So anything to help complement your application, you're more than welcome to submit it, as long as you have your one required work sample. Next slide. Oh, yes. Videos for your optional sample, no more than 2 minutes. So we have 5 minutes for the required, for the optional, no more than 2 minutes. And so sometimes we do share links. So sometimes folks share Vimeo, for example. Please share whatever link that it is without any passwords, just to make it a little bit easier for our jury. However, to reassure, we will not be sharing your materials with anyone outside the adjudication folks. Great. So what kinds of projects would be eligible? So it could be a short or feature-length film, as long as in post-production. Projects cannot be in pre-production, cannot be in development, or in the midst of shooting. You have to be in post-production. You, the applicant, has to be the primary creator. That could be the director, the producer of the project, at the very least having creative control over the film that you're pitching for the grant. And then, of course, our goal is accessibility. And so our hope is that the film that you're proposing is also intended for public audiences. Proposals must be for the completion, right? So if you're in post-production editing, or if you are starting to prepare your film for it to be exhibited or distributed. And so some materials could be prepping your press kit, trailers, your film stills as well, things like that.
Thank you, Matteo. I'll just talk a little bit about what post-production means, because this microgrant is specifically to help and support filmmakers in your post-production needs. So this is basically what we are trying to do to help you in the finish line of your projects. And some of the things that you can use the funds in the post-production can include film or sound editing, color correction, special effects, if you need to do captioning for your films, any crediting layouts and design needs that need to be used for the film, soundtrack and music rights, and sound mixing. And also any licensing needs that you would need can be covered under the post-production needs, and also software and instruction. And now in case you are beyond this stage and you have completed all of that, and your film is now ready to be screened, and you need help in packaging your film for a screening, or if you are going to be submitting it to the festival circuits, then the grant funds can also be used towards trailer cuts, press kits, and marketing needs and assets, for merch, for photography. And again, any of the submission fees for film festivals can be covered with the post-production needs that the grant covers. When you are in the form, as you go down the form, you will see that we are asking you for a film synopsis and an artist statement. And this is basically the narrative portion of the form. And so you will need to fill in your film synopsis, which is basically a one sentence summary of what your film project is. And it should cover your film title, the genre that it comes under, and just a very simple explanation of what the film is about, what's the storyline. And if you want to, or you do not have all of the information for this particular thing, then you can also give us a small summary of what project you are working on currently that fits in with this Microgrant application. And we've highlighted it here. Your synopsis that you're writing should not go beyond 300 words max, because it will not let you go beyond that. So it will kind of cut you off in the form itself. And the other thing that we ask is the artist statement. So this is basically, we want to know who you are, and it's your chance to kind of just tell us something about yourself, a very brief explanation of your artistic and your career goals, and why you are applying for our microgrant. So again, this one has slightly more words. We are a little generous in giving you 200 more words. So this is 500 words max. And so please use this to kind of let us and the jurors know exactly who you are and what why you are going to be applying for this microgrant. Now, for the most exciting part of this whole presentation, the awards. So what are you going to be getting if you are selected as one of the awardees? So you will be receiving $7,500 each. And this could be as a solo filmmaker, or you could be a team, a collaborative team for this project. And again, I think Matteo spoke about this in the previous slide. It could be a screenwriter, director combination, or a producer, director combination, writer. And to reiterate that this funding that you will get of $7,500 each, you cannot double it up. So if you are applying as a team, you will still only get $7,500 as your grant amount. And the way it will be dispersed when you are selected is you will receive an ACH or a check payment, and this will be sent within 4 weeks of when we publicly announce that you are the winner of the grant. And in addition to the $7,500 that each awardee will receive, we are really grateful that we are able to offer you some extra prizes from 2 of our sponsors. So you will get a 6-month membership via Mubi for their catalog of independent films. And again, this is going to be valid for a year from the date of the award. And we're also really grateful to Northwest Film Forum and New York African Film Festival for promotional support, because they are offering you the opportunity for a bi-coastal screening of when your film is ready and ready to be screened. And again, this is subject to your film being completed by Feb 2025, because we do need to give them a 3 to 4 month advance notice so that they can include you in their schedule, and the venue is available. So it around the May-June, if you need it for the May-June 2025 screening. So those are the extra prizes that you will get in addition to the monetary prize. And finally, who are the jurors that are on our panel? And we are incredibly grateful that we have 3 amazing award-winning jurors who are sitting on our panel. And the first one is Anya Freer, who is an award-winning Australian-Jamaican artist and filmmaker who works between New York City and Jamaica. And Anya, let me go back. Anya uses oral histories to disrupt imperialistic narratives and recenter marginalized voices through her films. So we are so grateful that Anya has agreed to be on the panel, and she will be one of your jurors. Our next juror is Shari Glokovac-Smith, who is an Emmy-nominated performer and intermedia artist. And Shari explores just working with human experience and society through sound and through their video and through their performance. That's Shari, who's our second juror. And our third juror is Zainab Jah, who was raised in Sierra Leone and graduated from London Contemporary Dance. And Zainab has an impressive resume, just like our other jurors, and she has appeared in numerous critically acclaimed plays and films and TV series, including the Tony Award-winning play Eclipsed, and she was also recently seen in Black Panther, and she's also a film producer, writer, and director. And finally, we have to thank, because these are our sponsors, because none of this grant would have been possible without the support from Seattle Foundation and the City of Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, who are fiscally supporting this and funding this grant. And additional support is also provided by MUBI, Northwest Film Forum, and the New York African Film Festival. And we are also getting media sponsorship from the International Examiner. In case any of your questions, you have extra questions or they're not answered, you can always go to our website where we have an appendix of frequently asked questions on blackcinemacollective.org. And there's a whole list of questions that we have, and answers that we have put in there. But again, if any of your questions are not covered there, please feel free to email either myself or M from Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. PST at bcc.circle@gmail.com. And please put in BCC Microgrant questions in your subject line and allow us about 48 hours to get back to you, and we will come back with any of the answers that you may have posed to us, for any questions you may have posed to us. And I guess I'm going to stop sharing now because we are going to be open for questions here on this forum.